Yeah, I'm introducing our next speaker, Ksenia Gusarova, who is a research fellow at the Institute for Advanced Studies of the Humanities of the Russian State University for the Humanities. Her field of research and interests encompasses the cultural history of the body and Western identity with a focus on fashion and beauty culture, which you use as, you know, it happens all the time. You see, it just sets time limits. I like it. Yeah, good. Her work has been published in Fashion Theory, Clothing Cultures, and the Journal of Design History. So today, Ksenia is talking on Packing for the Young of the World, Girlhood and Consumer Dreams in Wartime, Zagreb. So somehow we are continuing the topic of migration, immigration. Are you okay holding it in your hands?
Wonderful, I feel like a star.
You are. Okay.
Yeah, I have the inalienable fate of infringing on the coffee break, but nevertheless, I'll take my time to thank the organizers, Luda above all, and the whole team at the Literary Observer, who have worked so hard to put this together, and also our wonderful colleagues at the Yerevan State University for hospitality. We are enjoying here. It's my first time in Yerevan, and I'm sort of love it. When I got news about this conference being prepared, the word that stood out for me in the title was obviously crisis. And although today we have heard and will hear about numerous and various crises, for me personally at least, overshadowed by the war, other crises receded into the background and seemed to lose significance, and I felt that I wanted to speak about the war. However, I found that it was extremely difficult to do so, not only because of the censorship in Russia, but also because of the Russian studies methodology that I have offered me very little, and my expertise didn't seem to suggest any topic that would answer this necessity. However, with time I was reminded of the book which I read a while ago by Croatian contemporary writer Masha Kalanic. The book is called Slovaština Barbie. It has been translated into German as Underground Barbie, and hopefully the English translation is forthcoming, because when I read it, as I said, half a dozen years ago, I felt that I would love to assign this book to all of my students to read. That was not possible. Hopefully it will become possible one day, because I think it's a brilliant novel which tackles many of the issues we have already been discussing today, this transition from socialist to post-socialist world, and inhabiting the dream world of capitalism and war. Because the novel is set against the background of the Croatian War of Independence of 1991-1992, with the autobiographic preteen protagonist somehow having to handle the situation playing with her Barbies. So this is, briefly speaking, the outline of the book. And also the book features wonderful illustrations by the author, so it's somewhere between a graphic novel and like a real literary novel. Slovaština is a suburban neighborhood in the very south of Zagreb, the capital of Croatia. You can see it here on the map. And it's not possible to simultaneously feature the city center and this district, so you can feel this the remoteness of this outskirts. And you can also see the picture on the bottom right, and the quote from the first chapter, which emphasizes the disparity between the greyness of these architectural surroundings and life in late socialist Yugoslavia here, and the sudden arrival of Barbies and the pink, lovely, feminine commodity world, dream world that they signify. You can even see this contrast in the quote. The first chapter of the novel was translated for the Massachusetts Review, the issue called Casualty, about wars, and this particular chapter was featured in the section called Collateral Damage, very appropriately, because actually the novel doesn't directly touch on immediate experience of being involved in hostilities or being faced with military action, because this part of Zagreb and the Croatian capital more generally didn't face the destruction the other parts of Croatia and other parts of Yugoslavia, the studies actually were involved with. It is a relatively stable and peaceful background. However, the news of war are on TV and on the radio, and this environment of distress, uncertainty, air raids, the necessity to go down to the basement to hide, and well, the imagery of war is very present in the book. And you will see the quotes just to technical details. So quotes in black come from this translation by Milanko and Travic, and quotes in pink are in my incapable translation. So the war is not featured directly and immediately rather tangentially. However, this background is somehow played out on the dolls' bodies. So we see a lot of scenes of violence happening to those Barbie dolls, such as rape, torture, dismemberment, well, what would be murder, and other horrible things, emerge as part of children's play, children's games, and sometimes they involve the arrival of outsiders, such as older brothers or younger cousins who do horrible things to the dolls. But sometimes it's a part of these preteen girls' world as such, and actually dolls function as stand-ins for human bodies, allowing the author to portray this violence of war indirectly. And in fact, the writer, Masha Kalanovic herself, has underscored the importance of this connection in a recent interview, although here she emphasizes the significance of the imagery of the illustrations, where the way she actually interprets Barbie anatomy actually allows her to portray human suffering and violence. You can see one of the more violent pictures here on this slide. However, I think that both the imagery and the text needs to be considered in this context. And of course, the use of dolls to evoke violence is nothing new. We can see it in surrealist projects, and can remember Hans Wellner's photography. Particularly, I was reminded of Cecil Beaton's photographs of London bombed during the Blitzkrieg, and the wonderful analysis by Rebecca Arnold of this particular photograph, which evokes the horror of war through this cigarette head of a window shop window mannequin who preserves eerily this peaceful, blessed smile on her lovely face. And actually, in Masha Kalanovic's novel, also we can see this emphasis on the dolls perpetually smiling. They come from this other reality where everything is wonderful, where they're always enjoying themselves, and even when something horrible is happening to them in this game or outside of it, their smiling faces present this contrast and points to how this experience of violence is basically unshareable and untranslatable to those who form part of this outside world. On one hand, dolls allow the author to speak about violence. On the other hand, the same dolls allow to transfer the healing of this traumatic experience, working through this traumatic experience by caring for them, actually. And this extended quote actually describes the moment when the main character has to descend into the basement for the first time, and she has to pack her necessities. And of course, her Barbie suitcase is the most important thing for her. It is interesting how here she details very lovingly some of the elements of Barbie's wardrobe and tells how she carefully packs them and places very much emphasis on them. And only then she seems to remember her family and friends and so on and so forth. So Barbie seems to be part of her immediate family. And this packing, caring for the girls, for the dolls, actually creates an opportunity for world building, for world making through aggregate creativity. Because even before the war starts, in this gray landscape of post-socialist suburban neighborhoods, the people don't have those wonderful things that they see in the catalogs and in other media, on TV at that time. They have an opportunity to create. They have an opportunity to expand the Barbie world, actually involving everything into it. So as the protagonist here says, my own Barbie design motto was name anything in the world, and I'll tell you what it can become for Barbie. And yeah, she transforms her world, and she actually engages her mother and her grandmother into this process, so everything can become part of the Barbie world. And in fact, it's interesting to me how even in her 20s, late 20s, when the novel was written, the author in a way continues to play with her Barbies, transforming this time them into something else, actually through her imagery and through this text, actually making the world out of these dolls, out of these consumer objects. And to outline the extent to which this Barbie world would be life-saving for this young girl, I think this quote is very telling. This is the very end of the first chapter, when there was this very eventful day with an air attack, or an expected air attack, and when finally the protagonist goes to bed, she has a dream about Barbie as a fighting pilot who has come to defend her. And this is definitely not an image that is featured in the metal catalogs or something. But this is shows us a way how we can expand this world into any direction. However, the novel is not uncritical to this consumer paradise. In fact, it presents this kind of divided the author presents kind of mixed feelings and switches from her childhood memories into her more grown-up consciousness, and shows that this consumer paradise, in fact, was realized in a way in the 90s. But it's had a downside, as the characters stop playing with their Barbies because they're told to play with them. Barbies eventually end cans. So here we have one of the cans story. Barbies end in a trash pile, and so this is the very last sentence of the novel, where we have this very long list of discarded objects, of everyday use, also some of the more sophisticated things, which all go to the trash, and in this way, this consumer dream is shown to have its downside and its price, actually. And although there were ends, in this case, these new problems that the dream world, which was helping to survive the horrors of war, in fact, gave birth to, and these are the trouble we are staying with until now. And this is the image of this trash pile, with which I end my talk, and I'm almost on time. Thank you very much for your attention.